On this episode of Cooking with Katerina, I'm going to show you how to make Spanakopita, a family favorite. Welcome family and friends to Cooking with Katerina, and I'm Katerina. Today we're going to make Spanakopita, which is also known as spinach pie. The ingredients you're going to need is 1 pound of filo dough. You're going to need 1 pound of feta cheese, 2 cups of cottage cheese, salt, half a teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, 4 tablespoons of sauteed onions, and I saute them in 1 tablespoon of olive oil. And if you don't have olive oil, just use whatever oil you have. 2 tablespoons of dried parsley. You can also use fresh parsley if you have it. You're going to need 2 10-ounce packages of frozen chopped spinach, and you want to make sure it's drained and squeeze it out real good to get all the liquid out. 6 eggs, and on the stove I have 1 pound of unsalted butter melted. So first we're going to put the filling all together. What I do is I take and put in the feta cheese and the cottage cheese first. And then we're going to mix that up. Now, this is the way I make it. Other people have variations of it, but this seems to be what our family likes and how we like it. Very cheesy. So we're going to put that in the mixer and mix it up. Now this could get a little loud. This is my all-time favorite KitchenAid mixer. It will last forever. Okay, now we're going to add 6 eggs. Make sure that that's blended in there. And now we'll add our other ingredients. The salt, pepper, the parsley flakes, the onion, sauteed onion, and I'll also have this recipe written for you so that once you see how it's done, you can just print out the recipe. And let's lower that down there and put in the spinach. Then we'll give it a good mix and it'll be ready. There we go. And I'll show you what this looks like so you can see how it's all mixed in there. Okay? We'll bring our melted butter over and get our filo dough ready. Now, some people get real frustrated with working with filo dough. And I will tell you, sometimes it can get a little dry and flaky, but don't worry about it. You can, as long as you can pick it up and piece it together, you're good to go. Because when this is all done, it really will still look beautiful. Make sure that we have this ready to go. Now what we're going to do, usually in 1 pound of filo dough, there's about 20 to 21 sheets. So you want to make sure that on the bottom layer, you have half of the filo dough, and on the top, you're going to put the other half. what we're going to do first, I use the cookie sheet because it seems to be better if you want to serve it for an appetizer, if you want to have it for dinner. And you can either cut the pieces smaller or larger, so it all depends on you. But if you cut them smaller, people can always grab 1 or 2 pieces, or as many as they want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to butter the cookie sheet on the sides and bottom really good. Okay. And then, because the filo dough doesn't always reach to both sides of the cookie sheet, what I'll do is I will alternate it back and forth to go from one end to the other. So you'll pick up your filo very carefully and put it down there. This is, will almost do right there. And then again, you want to butter each layer of the filo dough. Some people don't, but it is what I do. I think when you put on the butter on each layer, it's flakier. So you want to make sure that you do it all over each layer. Again, don't forget the sides. So we'll take the second sheet here and we'll bring it to the other side. Kind of push it down there and butter it. And you're going to do this for about 10 sheets on the bottom. And then you'll put the filling in. So that's what I'm going to do. Complete this first half, and then we'll add our filling. Now that we've got all 10 of the sheets down and buttered, now we're going to turn on the oven. It'll be on 350, and you'll be cooking the finished product for approximately an hour, depending on your oven. You want to make sure it's like a nice golden brown, a golden color. So you know your oven might be 5 minutes sooner, 5 minutes later, but somewhere in that hour period. There we go. So now we're going to put our filling in. And what you're going to do is just pour it on top of your filo dough that you've buttered and spread it on evenly. And you want to make sure you get all this goodness. Now, if you have a yaya, she might make it a little different than I do. And let me tell you, yayas know best. So if your yaya makes it different, you better get her recipe. And you can basically use my video to see how to put it together, just in case she gives you a recipe and doesn't walk you through it. So now that we almost have this spread completely on the bottom. Okay, now you take your filo dough again. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to butter each layer and the sides. Now this layer here could be a little challenging because you're on top of this spinach, but just be gentle and you'll be able to get through that first layer. And we'll get a second layer going here and complete all the sheets of filo dough, buttering each one and the sides until you've used up all your filo dough. Okay, now that we have all the layers on, you're going to have a little bit of overhang. So what I do is I take a little spatula and I kind of tuck all around into the pan. Just kind of bring it up and tuck it over. This kind of makes it a little easier. So use your fingers too. Get it all on there. And then take a little bit of butter and make sure that you get the part that you've tucked over. Get all around there because the butter is what makes it nice and crispy. So now we're going to cut it. Now, the way I cut it, I get 48 pieces out of a cookie sheet. So you're going to cut on the shorter side, make a cut down the middle, and you just want to go through the top layer. You don't have to go all the way down through. You can do that after it bakes. It'll just make it simpler for you. And so one down the middle on the short side, then you'll make 3 cuts on each side of the short side of the pan. Okay, and then what we'll do is cut the other way down the long side. Whoops. And we'll make 8 pieces on that side. Pardon me if I'm not completely straight here. But like my husband says, some people like bigger pieces, some people like smaller pieces. So you can have your choice. But I do try to keep them somewhat even. So we'll go down the middle again. Then we'll take that half and go cut it down the middle. Again, only through that top layer. It makes it so much easier to cut it beforehand. And then again, and we're going to do the other side. Cut the other side, pop it in the oven at 350 for approximately an hour or until it's golden in color. And I'll see you then. Okay, we just took it out of the oven. Mine took about 50 minutes and it's just the color that I like it. So what I did was I took my knife again and I cut through every line here that I already cut on the top, and now we're ready to take it out of the pan. Okay, this way you'll be able to see exactly what it looks like, and you can see the steam is still rolling off. Looks fantastic. Well, we'll take a few pieces out here just so you can get a nice look of this beautiful, delicious Spanakopita. Well, I'd like to thank you all for joining me today, and if you like what you saw and you want to try it, I would be very happy. So share this with your friends and family, hit the like button, and we'll see you again soon.